Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to welcome a very special guest today. Directly from New York, a successful entrepreneur, hardworking restaurant owner, and father of the hottest contemporary pop icon, Joe Germanotta, dad of the one and only Lady Gaga. Joe, I'm very happy to have you.
Thank you. That's quite an introduction. I appreciate that.
Listen, your city, New York, has been on a roller coaster these days. You had the mayoral elections last week. First time in history, the capital of capitalism is governed by a self-declared socialist. Joe, please let us know what went through your mind when you heard the news that Zohran Mamdani had won the race.
Actually, I'm just quite disturbed by it. In fact, the night of the election, I couldn't even watch the election results. I was so nervous. Um, you're categorizing him as a socialist, and I think he's got more communist tendencies than socialist. Um, it's some of his ideas and what he's committed to do in New York City will be a great burden on many of us. And, I'm concerned about a couple of things that, him um, not supporting the police. All right. He's going to bring back prostitution to New York City, which will bring crime and drugs, probably. All right. He's an advocate of Trump proofing New York City. All right. Which, I don't understand why Trump is such a hardship, you know, um, that he can't deal with. All right. And uh, uh, I'm overly disturbed to the point where I'm thinking about moving out. All
Now,
right.
now let's take a step back because, free buses, free education, free childcare, state-funded groceries sounds perfect, doesn't it? I mean,
It does. It does sound perfect, but how's he going to pay for it? All right. The way he's going to pay for it, he's going to increase New York City taxes, right, on the residents. And I mean, free buses, the MTA, who runs the bus system, they have a difficult time now meeting their budget requirements, right? And I mean, they run a deficit consistently, right? The grocery stores, I mean, I don't want to be limited to two loaves of bread. Like, I want to be able to go into a grocery store and buy what I want and pay for it. Um, I think his ideas are not realistic, especially in a capital environment like New York City. I mean, he's really going to polarize New York when New York really needs to be united. And
now you're running a very famous, wonderful restaurant. Joanne, it's in the Upper West Side. Can you tell me what does that mean for your specifically? Let's take you as an example for a restaurant owner. What does it mean when this communist comes to town and takes over?
well, I think he's going to affect our food costs. I think he'll affect the waiters. He has said that he's going to tax the tips. I mean, Trump came out with a policy of no tax on tips, and he's saying that he's going to tax tips. Um, it's a complicated environment as it is, and he's going to make it more complicated with um, the free nature of everything that he's talking about. You can't pay for it. And to be realistic, I mean, he's a 34-year-old assemblyman from Astoria, Queens, right? He's got no managerial experience. He's never really held a job, right? And getting a private paycheck, right? And how's he going to manage 300,000 employees with a $2 billion budget? All right. And he has no experience.
Now, you've been in the city, I think, almost your whole career. How many
40
months?
years.
40 years. So 40
Right.
years of experience. Now take us back to the early days of your career when you built up your business in New York. What was so great then, and what is missing now?
Well, what was great then? was, the flexibility to run your own business. All right. I mean, the businesses that I owned and built, a lot of them were national. All right. So I had an office in my office in New York City. Okay. But the businesses themselves were, all over the country. All right. It was particularly, hotels in the Wi-Fi space. Um, how is it now? It's from the restaurant point of view, it's been a roller coaster. I mean, we went through COVID. Okay, we went through a bad mayor. All right. Prior to that, we had other bad. We had This all started with Bill de Blasio. I mean, he was the first socialist slash communist. I don't know how he got a second term. Okay, but he did. All right. He was focused on the wrong things for New York City. All right. Then we got Mayor Adams, who I voted for. Why? Because he was going to support the police. He had a police background, and we really, had great expectations, right? But as it turned out, there were some problems, right? And so I think the last part of his administration, I think he suffered from that, right? And um, now, yeah, Cuomo, look, Cuomo was not the best selection, all right? But if if you were going to vote, you had to vote for Andrew Cuomo. All right. Curtis Lee, well, he's been on the ballot, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, right? And he never seems to gain enough steam to get enough traffic. And what he did was he split the vote. I mean, we had I think it was uh, the largest turnout in 10 years, all right, for voting. All right. And, Mamdani got 54%. If Slimo wasn't in the race, he got 15%.
Right.
And Cuomo would have had a chance.
Now, you Mamdani said, this is a city of immigrants. Now, your ancestors were immigrants, and but in the meantime, something happened. I mean, we saw recently, and I witnessed that visiting your city. There's thousands of migrants who were flooding the city. Some of them were put into hotels across the city. What is different today compared to the times when your ancestors moved into the Big Apple?
Well, when my ancestors came into the country, everybody came in through Ellis Island. And in order to get in, I mean, you had to have there was a medical exam. You had to have a place to live. You had to have a job, right? So when you came to the United States, you were immediately somewhat productive, right? And everybody had the motivation to be, you know, a self-made man in America, right? And so there, my grandparents, both of them, they were shoemakers. All right. They came to the country and, they came and they lived with their relatives and opened up their shoemaker shop. They were shoemakers in Italy and they opened up their shoemaker shop here in the United States. And it was a completely different environment. Nobody gave them anything. I mean, the problem that we had was is they opened the doors. We didn't know who anyone was that came into the country, whether they had a clean background or a background that of um, a police, and a lot of them were criminals, right?
Mm.
Let's face it. All right. And now we're trying to get them out of the country. And I support getting the criminals out of the country. I think there's some good people that are still immigrants that are here in the United States, right? And they pay taxes and they work, right? But these individuals came in undocumented, all right, and they had got a free ride, right? And now they're trying to extend that free ride with free health care. And I mean, I don't know that we've gotten many out of the country as we intend to, but I mean, I think the self-deportation that we're offering, I think that's a great plan, right? If you self-deport, you can come back in, but when you come back in, you're going to do it legally based, on our rules in the United States.
Now, a lot of immigrants, including your family, especially your family, you have contributed so much to that country of yours. Culturally, you as a business owner in a restaurant, you have your own shows in your restaurant. Um, and we know from many interviews that you're very close to your whole family and to your daughter, and you inspired her musical career. And you're probably one of the first ones to hear her new composition, I suppose. But beyond the world of music, do you also talk politics at dinner table? And what does your daughter think about this new regime, communist regime in town?
We really don't discuss it. And since he's come on the scene, she's been on tour, right? So,
Yeah, right.
I've got better things to discuss with her. Right?
Fair enough.
I want
Fair
to
enough.
I want to have a father-daughter relationship. I don't want to talk about politics.
Absolutely. Now, do you ever give her an advice, though? I mean,
On do I
on the
give her advice?
career or whatever?
You know what? She's past that. I mean, she's 38 years old and she's on her own to make her own decisions. All right. If
Yeah.
she asks me, I'll give her my opinion. All
Yeah.
right. How
No,
frequently does she ask me? Not as frequently as you would think. All right.
I heard in an interview that you gave that the only thing you ever begged her is not to sing at Biden's inauguration. Is that true?
I no comment.
No, come back. Now, let's go back to the bigger picture in the US. Of course, you can imagine on this side of the Atlantic, President Donald Trump is not very welcome. He's very widely criticized. How do you personally see the economy of the Trump government overall
Oh,
so
it's
far?
it's screaming. It's screaming good. I mean, I knew that when he got elected, I mean, the economy was gonna be was gonna be roaring, and it is. All right. I mean, if you look at the stock market, I mean, every day it's going up and up and up. His policies are strong. I mean, might not like I happen to like him. But the population might not like him as an individual. Okay, but you can't disagree with what he's doing in
Yeah,
the country. I mean, he's eh, got some very, very strong ideas, right? And I'm hopeful that he can get 100% of them through. To be
yeah.
honest with you.
Now you can imagine, the media over here is cheering on this young communist, as you call him, quite fairly so, because he has communism at his core. So this young man who is biting into this big apple, where do you see him going in about 5 years? Will New York be another San Francisco, or what are we, out for?
Well, let's take a look at, socialism hasn't worked anywhere where it's been tried. All right. And I don't think it's going to work here in New York City. All right. Especially in New York City. I think there's going to be a mass exodus of the taxpayers that he thinks are going to pay for all these things. Um, I think it's going to be the way New York was about 15 years ago. Okay, where it was a tough place to live. I mean, some neighborhoods you couldn't walk around in. All right. Now, I think it's right now it's pretty safe, citywide. All right. And it's very disappointing that we're going to take a step back like this.
Yeah. Now, I can't leave you without getting a valuable piece of advice. Like you, I have a daughter. She's a bit younger than yours. Let me ask you bluntly, what's the best way to make my daughter as successful as yours, a millionaire performing artist?
It's others have asked me this question. It's a simple formula. Find out what they'd like to do and support them in every way. And I mean, my daughter, she wanted to be an actress and a musician at a very, very early age. And so what we did was we got her their acting classes and the music. She started playing piano at 5 years old. We got her a teacher. They used to come to the home, right? Then when she was in all the theater productions at her school and the neighboring, boys' schools, boy high schools. Um,
But you were also
she,
tough. You were also tough. I heard that
yes.
you told her, if you don't have a record contract within a year, I will stop supporting you.
That was her birthday. I didn't say I would stop supporting her. I did support her through her career development. She came, my wife and I had dinner with her on her birthday, and that's when she said, "Hey, I want to quit college." And she was a great student at NYU. She was always a great student through grammar school, high school, middle school. But um, she said, "I want to quit school and I want to pursue my career." And my response was, look, we put away money for your college education. I'll let you use some of that. All right. And you got a year. Go get yourself a record deal, right? Or you're going back to school,
So
right?
she did.
Otherwise, I
She
mean, yeah,
did.
she did. She got her first record deal with Island Def Jam. And
No.
what's his name? Uh, L.A. Reid.
Yeah.
And he dropped her. Believe it or not, he dropped her from the label. But then she got picked up by Interscope right away, and and the rest is the story. Okay,
Now we just hope we see her more on the screen. The last movie was such a great success and great to watch. So I hope we'll see more of her as actress.
I think
And
you will. I think you will see more and more of her as an actress over time. I mean, this out she just got nominated for 7 Grammys.
wow.
Right. I mean, and be honest with you, when I heard the new album Mayhem, I called her right up and I said, Steph, there's not a skip track on this album, right? And I was right. It's up for album of the year, pop album of the year. And it's I believe Abracadabra. It's contagious song. All right. That's gonna live a long time. It's like Bad Romance.
Well, it lives on in my head all the time. So, Joe, I don't want to take too much time on this afternoon of yours. It's just, what's the plan today? What do you do after this?
Right now,
Yeah.
we have an event this afternoon with a local marijuana dispensary, right, that they hold regular marketing activities there. They're called Flower Power, is the name of the group of the company. And so we allow them to use our space to do some marketing. And tonight they have a sip and paint, but they don't smoke. I don't know what I mean, they may smoke outside because it's legal to smoke weed in New York City, but you can't smoke inside a restaurant. All right.
Right.
But
Right.
they're very good, very good clients. And we do this about once or twice a month. All right. Other than that, we have shows at the restaurant 5 nights a week. All right. So we have a drag show every Wednesday hosted by Jupiter Genesis. She's my resident host, and she brings in a different drag queen every week. And then on Thursdays, we have what we call an emerging artist showcase, where it's kind of, the concept is I'm giving back to the music community by giving them a stage. Like my daughter used to knock on the doors and say, "Hey, can I perform here?" etc. So these young artists, they submit an application and they submit some of their work, all right, that we listen to and we evaluate, and then we invite them in, and they have to do 3 covers and they can do one of their own song,
Fantastic.
right? And
Fantastic.
then if they're good, I bring them back. What we have is a discovered at Joanne's evening,
Wonderful. Wonderful.
right? And
And
we give them
Joanne,
a
of
90
course,
minute set. But
Joanne, of
but
course, is the name of your late sister,
that
who,
was my name of my sister. She died at 19
yeah, yeah.
from
And now she
lupus.
lives on in your place. Last question though. I look forward dropping in your restaurant. What menu do you recommend when I'm coming over?
Well, what are the most popular dishes on the menu? Of course, spaghetti and meatballs, of course. Okay. But the next popular dish is the lemon artichoke chicken, which was my mother's recipe. And then we have a chicken scarparello that is a recipe of a good chef friend of mine, um, John Bowden. He used to be at the Columbus Citizens Foundation, which is an Italian organization. We ran the Columbus Day Parade, and we still do. All right. I'm not a member anymore, though. I dropped my membership. Um,
Wonderful.
let's
Wonderful. I wish I was there now. I go now down to the kitchen and make myself spaghetti pesto. So,
There you go.
but I will never match what you do at home. I'm looking very much forward to visit you and thank you so much for your time. It's been enlightening for our audience, I'm sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really enjoyed meeting you.